In life, we have a variety of choices. From each decision branches an entire timeline of events that itself has an infinite number of further branching timelines. Confusing? It's quantum physics, bitch! And I'm about to take you to school in this hip subject. Today's topic, BioShock Infinite. More specifically, its protagonist Booker DeWitt. He's a handsome, old-fashioned, and tormented man. So let's look deep into his sinful soul and pull out the story you never knew. Ever so delicately. We first meet Booker on a rowboat during a rainstorm. He's a man filled with regret since his racist, inhuman actions at the Battle of Wounded Knee. The year is 1912. He's seated at the rear of the boat behind these two bantering Brits. They're witty, yet mysterious. Rosalind Lutece, the lady in the middle, says she doesn't believe in the entire thought experiment, saying one shouldn't go into an experiment knowing one has already failed at it. Is Booker a part of this so-called experiment? Is he doomed to failure? Probably not. When the rowing is done, Booker heads up to this lighthouse and, a note. Bring us the girl and wipe away the debt. It seems Booker must bring somebody, some girl, and wipe away some debt. And now he's just gotta sit in this chair that came out of the floor. Whoa! He's blasting off into the sky! Strange indeed. But he ends up arriving at Columbia, a city above the clouds ruled by a religious, racist extremist named Zachary Comstock. He arrives within a gorgeous temple church thing filled with water and ambient singing of Will the Circle Be Unbroken, a popular Christian hymn. An enthusiastic preacher bellows to DeWitt that he can only enter Columbia with a baptism. He reluctantly lets himself be dunked, flashing back to a dingy room with a threatening voice beckoning, "Bring us the girl," and wipe away the debt. He awakens in the sunlight of Columbia. Then, after some wandering and tripping the hell out, Booker passes through a door to find the two from the rowboat telling him to flip a coin.
Heads. Told you. I never find that as satisfying as I'd imagined.
Chin up, there's always next time.
I suppose there is.
Quite. Those two are the Luteces. Are they brother and sister? Twins? Nope. They're the same person, but from different universes. You know, quantum physics stuff. You'll notice something peculiar about these two asking Booker to flip the coin. All previous flips have been heads, and it seems that this is the 123rd attempt. Further analysis shows this isn't just the 123rd time someone has flipped a coin in front of the Luteces, but rather this is the 123rd Booker DeWitt who has flipped a coin in front of the Luteces. And it's been heads every time. This is the 123rd iteration of Booker to go to Columbia in an attempt to free a girl and use her to wipe away his debt. So what makes this particular Booker so special? We are playing as him after all. What makes him the protagonist instead of, say, number 78? Or 69? If there's an answer to that, it surely lies further along in DeWitt's tale. A treacherous path filled with spoilers around every corner. Spoilers in dark alleys, spoilers under sketchy overpasses, ready to pounce with unsolicited requests for drugs in exchange for a meth-mouthed BJ. But really, they're spoilers and they want to suck your dick for crack. If that's what you're into. Booker keeps on keeping on through Columbia, arriving at a raffle where he draws lucky number 77. But before he can claim the worst prize ever, the Columbians spot an AD brand on his hand. Turns out Zachary Comstock foresaw Booker's attempt to free this girl and plastered these posters everywhere to keep this false shepherd from leading the lamb astray. Cause this chick is the lamb and Booker is trying to free her. You got it. A face-obliterating skirmish ensues, followed by Booker shooting his way onwards until he meets the Luteces yet again. This time, they offer him a drink that gives him a personal magnetic repulsion field. They're incredibly surprised that he survived the modification, which seems odd, but hey, there's more where that came from if he did die. With this increased protection, DeWitt carves his way onwards to the tower where this girl is supposedly held. Turns out her name is Elizabeth, and she's been locked away in this tower by Comstock for as long as she can remember. Alone, with nothing but books, a thimble to cover her missing finger, and holy shit, apparently that thing! Appropriately named Songbird. It's been her warden her whole life, and it wants to keep it that way. The robotic avian is nothing Booker and Elizabeth can't handle, however, and they safely start their way towards an airship. But only after DeWitt awkwardly talks to Elizabeth about her missing finger, and discovers this bitch can open tears to other universes. Kinky. He's caught a little off guard by all this, but continues with her through the beauty of Columbia that she experiences for the first time. Her awe of the outside world is a refreshing change of pace that Booker has no time for. He lies to her, promising they'll go to Paris rather than stay here. Upon boarding an airship, she discovers DeWitt's true intentions of selling her to repay a debt and knocks him out. At this point, Booker's story yields few answers. His intentions are bad, his past decisions are worse, and his future is uncertain at best. The Luteces, however, seem to pop in every now and then to fill in gaps in this confusing, unforgiving world. They're cryptic, yet they give you clues to what's going on. For instance, when Rosalind gives you the magnetic repulsion field, her and her quantum twin seem relieved you aren't dead. It seems trivial enough at first, but some critical thinking yields a different answer. It begs the question, what makes you, the 123rd Booker, so special? The answer is right there. Number 123 is the magic number. The first successful magnetic field integration with Booker that didn't kill him. You're the first iteration to have protection against the hail of bullets that are sure to come your way. Perhaps this DeWitt's potential success is just a statistical anomaly then? Hell, I barely know anything in this game anymore, so all the more reason to dive back in. Booker wakes up in a daze to a member of the Vox Populi, an extremist rebel group who wants to overthrow Comstock for his brutal oppression of minorities. They're as extreme as Comstock is, but in the opposite direction. Soon after their conversation, Booker finds Elizabeth and wins her trust again. Then, using Elizabeth's powers, they end up in a parallel universe where Booker died a martyr for the Vox Populi. Him, Booker DeWitt, a man tormented by his racist actions at Wounded Knee, died in defense of minority power, but only in this universe. They continue through this parallel reality and oh hey, can I join your guys' dance party? But it turns out they aren't dancing. Booker killed these people in another universe while they are still alive in this one. Now they're experiencing life and death at the same time, bleeding from their nose and twitching from insanity. Worst dance party ever. Confused? Allow me to elaborate with science. And kitty cats. You may have heard of a thought experiment called Schrodinger's cat. In this experiment, you put a cat in a box containing poison. The poison is triggered by a mechanism unbeknownst to you. So until you open the box, you don't know if it's alive or dead. The Copenhagen interpretation, a set of axioms in quantum physics, says that until a quantum particle is observed, it exists in multiple states at the same time as a set of probabilities. Thus, the cat in this case would be both alive and dead at the same time until you open the box. When Booker and Elizabeth find these people who are dead in a parallel universe, but alive in this one, they are existing in a superposition of states. That is, they are both living and deceased at the same time. Thus the twitching. Back to the plot, Elizabeth gets captured by Songbird, but DeWitt then rescues her, bludgeons/drowns Comstock in a bird bath within a very pleasant room, and then Elizabeth transports them under the ocean where Songbird gets crushed by water pressure. Hooray, science! Elizabeth takes them back to the surface at the base of that lighthouse from what feels like so long ago. Now it's among a surreal array of millions of lighthouses, each containing alternate versions of Booker and Elizabeth within a parallel universe. A million billion possibilities scattered through time and space, all laid out before them. And with Elizabeth's full powers unlocked from destroying that thing I never told you about, she can see into all of them simultaneously. Every moment, every possibility she sees and understands. From the infinite array of choices, Elizabeth takes Booker to a specific one.
I know this place. I was here. It must have been 20 years ago, right after Wounded Knee. was looking for...
Come on now, time's a-wasted.
Why were you here?
Are you ready to have your past erased? Are you ready to have your sins cleansed? Are you ready to be born again? Take my hand.
But he doesn't. Not in this universe. He wanted to wash away the guilt from his actions at Wounded Knee, but simply could not forgive himself. And so this Booker, the one who rejected his innocence, became the alcoholic, child-selling gambling addict we know today. Yet in another timeline, he became a martyr against racism, likely another way of dealing with his actions during a battle in the name of white supremacy. But what of the Booker who did accept the baptism? The one who forgave himself and carried on with those same racist ideologies rather than admit he did wrong? Well, he became the embodiment of those ideas, became molded by them, became the bearded, racist Comstock. Yes indeed, Booker DeWitt, the man of infinite possibilities, performed the ultimate stop hitting yourself. But our protagonist has another point where universes collide in his head. A quantum superposition causing a mindfuck and nosebleed, if you will. Remember the cat? This time, it's about Elizabeth and who she really is. Give us the girl and wipe away the debt. Booker's initial trip to the lighthouse wasn't the first time he experienced those words. It's only now that he remembers that fact. Almost 20 years ago, Booker gave away his infant daughter, Anna DeWitt, to repay a gambling debt. Comstock's tinkering with the fabric of time and space left him infertile, and so he needed a lamb to succeed his throne from a DeWitt whose bits and pieces weren't zapped. Shortly after Booker's regretful transaction, he chases down Lutece to undo his decision. But Comstock fights for his lamb, crawling back to his side of reality and shutting the portal.
Now do it! Give me back my daughter! No!
And there you go, the evidence that proves Elizabeth is Anna, the reason for her missing finger. From that accident came her powers. With her body permanently bridging the gap between realities, she has the ability to travel between them all at will. Able to observe everything that's ever happened, is currently happening, and will ever happen. Essentially, she's omniscient. So what else does this demigoddess know? Well, she makes it clear to Booker that Comstock may be dead in their universe, but he is alive in a million other worlds. From that knowledge, she knows how to keep his tyranny from ever happening in any timeline. She takes DeWitt to a reality where he did accept the baptism, where he was reborn as Zachary Comstock. Once at that point, Elizabeth drowns him so that the branch containing Comstock's existence is destroyed before it begins. As Elizabeth so eloquently puts it,
"It's not over because the prophet is dead. It will only be over when he never even lived in the first place."
And that's the sad beauty of Booker's tale. The only way for him to become a hero was to be killed. At the end of the day, however, we can draw some interesting conclusions about his journey. For instance, his ultimate victory took 123 tries. The same man, with the same skills, the same genetics, died 122 times before the Lutece's magnetic repulsion field tipped the scales in his favor and didn't kill him. Also, when we look at the baptism, there is some profound symbolism going on. Booker's journey for us begins and ends at this river with devout Christian followers promising Booker that he can start a new life if he'll allow Jesus to forgive him. They sing a beautiful, surreal rendition of "Will the Circle Be Unbroken?" as though they are asking, will Booker never break his constant cycle of trying to reunite with his daughter that he regretfully sold? Well guys, it looks like the answer is no. The circle will not be unbroken. That's the most profound double negative you've ever heard. Booker DeWitt's story also gives a valuable lesson into how important our choices are in life. The same man with the same DNA, the same gnawing regret, took 3 very different paths based solely on his choices. In one timeline, he attempted to deal with his regretful, horribly racist actions by forgiving himself through baptism and embracing that racism on a grand scale. In another, his regret pushed him to fight and die for the Vox Populi, an extremist minority group on the other side of the spectrum. In the last, Booker became a man that even he could be proud of. Although his intentions began as selfish ones, he eventually grew closer to Elizabeth without even knowing she was his daughter. Once she refused to be used to repay his debt, he could have easily walked away, went home without her, let her die. But this one genuine connection, perhaps his first in 20 years, opened his mind to taking a far more selfless path. A little quality time with his daughter was all it took to be so removed from his own selfish interests that he accepted death without hesitation. Booker DeWitt, a man who lived, lives, and will live in a mind-blowing multiverse thanks to the quantum tinkerings of the Luteces. Through their and Elizabeth's ability to transcend dimensions, we are able to see reality for what it really is. A bizarre place where our choices in difficult situations dictate the outcome of our lives. But of course, we all get by with a little help from our friends. And maybe, just maybe, this isn't your first try at what you're working towards. Good luck, number 123. And that's the story you never knew.
Don't miss. Coming soon.
Hey, so if you're not a subscriber, you're not really supposed to hear what I gotta say next, so you gotta either cover your ears or click the I'm not a subscriber button. I mean, I'll wait for you to click it, but I'm getting a little impatient. So, it's right there. I mean, there's also, the videos above me. If you're, feeling a little adventurous, want to check out some other story you never knew, they're both pretty darn good if you ask me. I like them. And that's coming from me. I mean, you got three mouses. You can click all 3. 3 mices. 3 mice. 3 moose. Mooses. Wonder if you could ride a moose into a battle. Like in the olden days, you see some guys riding a horse and then one guy comes in on a moose and he's just like, shooting bows and arrows at people, and wow, I'm really getting off topic. Yeah, you should click something, but hope you like the video. Catch you guys later. Maybe. I don't know.